everyone. 7-year-old me was absolutely envious of what seemed like very sane and very cool teenagers chugging coffee from their Starbucks cups. As soon as I took my first sip of this holy brown concoction, my face resembled the graph of the derivative of x cubed. A big, parabolic smile. Okay, maybe it's a little too early for calculus, but I really dropped that on my TA84 for you nerds out there. How do you take your coffee? Starbucks caramel macchiato? Fresh from Cup of Joe in Hillsborough? Or would you prefer not to answer? Shout out to Miss Foster's class. Do you remember chugging a cup of rather lukewarm coffee alongside everyone else at senior breakfast, barely processing the fact that we were actually seniors? Freshman year, unicorn frappuccino, decaf. I'd like to start by sincerely apologizing to those who knew me then. The year started off with getting lost in a school with one building and definitely a pool on the roof, doing math problems in Mr. Rios' English class, making some of my best friends, and figuring out what the heck masks were. We were innocent, joyous unicorns excited for a global pandemic, because of course, it'd only be 2 weeks off school. But when we came back sophomore year to collect our books, I couldn't recognize more than half of you. Hair cut and dyed, some 3 inches taller, and some just a little bit sadder. Sophomore year. Recall the whipped coffee trend? Basically, you take instant coffee and whip it with a flask for nearly 30 minutes to get fluffy coffee. That, hot take, doesn't even taste that great. Our time online felt awfully like that. Opening up a Zoom link and sitting there, looking at corners of faces that were all muted. Sitting through a literal insurrection. Sitting on House Party or Among Us. We were whipped coffee, scared to touch the surface underneath to find ourselves, and scared to touch the people we love. Instead, scrolling through countless hours of TikTok and having existential crises. Somewhere along the line, I lost sight of the coffee, the unique passions of our class. Junior year, when the black coffee really started to hit, but at least it was sweet. Remember devouring lunch in 15 minutes in frigid temperatures, like we were prison inmates with restricted outdoor time? And the sticky hand sanitizer dispensers in every classroom? The year was a constant grind, partly making up for the lack of actual Spanish we had practiced here before, partly because junior year is meant to be rough, and partly because we never taken finals before. Like black coffee, the first sip was overwhelming. Too many people, too many rules, all at once. But with time, it became pretty sweet. Homecoming in a parking lot, more specifically, dancing while clutching pocket warmers in our hands. Actually conducting labs in class instead of virtual simulations. And my favorite part, seeing you guys. Slowly, we found our way back to each other as friend groups formed and dismantled. Kahoot Club and countless others found their communities, and individually wrapped advisory food became permissible. Senior year, experimenting. As I walked onto campus back in August, I felt a surge of power. Here we were, finally at the top of the food chain. This year has by far been my favorite, even though half of us didn't hang out till UNC's early action deadline. Through Mrs. Kosh's countless mnemonic devices, praying our Chromebooks wouldn't die, prom not in a parking lot, dot day, and the constant fear of being sprayed with a water gun, I felt connected to each and every single one of you, whether we try to make bank or deal with the fear of missing out, FOMO. We became somewhat of a cult, well balanced with a dash of pumpkin spice or a scoop of Java chips. As we graduate, I want to remind you not only of the fact that you'll probably become a raging caffeine addict pretty soon, maybe coffee or maybe Monster energy drinks, but also to be brave, because you, yep, yes you, are my favorite type of coffee. You are the type of coffee that is there for a person on their good days and on their worst. You are passionate. A simple sip of you, a simple conversation leaves my mind spinning, sometimes out of sheer confusion, and sometimes out of astonishment. Because even if you haven't realized it yet, you've changed me and Raleigh Charter permanently. You've left your mark, your name lingering on someone's tongue, your story engraved in someone's mind, whether in roundtable discussions, walk to get donuts with Mr. Felder's class, or Halloween costume competitions. I hope, as you're exposed to different types of coffees, you'll never lose sight of the blend that you are, the blend of people, experiences, and